Hi. Good evening, good morning. No idea what time you're joining me. It's Saturday night right now. But I know we typically conduct this practice Sunday mornings, so I'll just say greetings, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me whenever it is throughout the week that you hop on this video. Welcome. My name's Erica. I'm going to be guiding you through your flow. We're going to start lying on our backs in Shavasana. So once you're in and settled, you have everything you need and you've done whatever else you can do to eliminate any distractions for your practice, you can go ahead and lie down on your back. Find a nice comfortable variation. Close your eyes, settle in, and just start to breathe. I posted or I commented underneath this live video with an optional Spotify playlist. So if you want to get your music going, you can go ahead and do that before you get too comfy. I'm going to have that really quietly just in the background for me. Just make sure. Okay. We're going to get going in just a moment. Okay, so we should all be nice and comfortable on our backs, finding our Shavasana. Eyes closed. I'll join you there momentarily. And just take a deep breath. Take a few deep breaths. You guys know that the average person takes about 23,000 breaths per day. How many do you actually notice? Not too many, probably. A small fraction of that. So I learned a new breathing technique this week, and I want you to try it. I'm going to encourage you to try it with me for just a few rounds of breath to see how you feel. So when you fill up, you're going to fill all the way up, and as you release the breath, you'll release it very gently. So right now, everyone should be lying on their backs, eyes closed. And I want you to take a nice deep breath in through the mouth, fill all the way up, and gently release that breath out of your mouth. Breathe in again through the mouth, filling all the way up. But this time you're going to release that breath out of your nose. So closing the mouth, letting the air come all the way out of your nose. Good. Breathe in through the nose this time. Fill the lungs and the belly all the way up. And then release that breath out of your nose again. And the final variation, breathing in through the nose. And this time, open the mouth, let the breath go. So you can either continue with that pattern if you even remember what it was, or you could just return to the natural breath. And just before we invite any movements into our practice, I want to share a post with you that I came across this morning while I was kind of getting my day ready and making my to-do list, figuring out what I needed to get done. It actually said my to-do list today at the top. And what it told me to do was count my blessings, practice kindness, let go of what I can't control, listen to my heart, be productive yet calm, and just breathe. So while I still had a really long to-do list of things I actually needed to accomplish, I thought it was good advice, and it was certainly a welcome reminder of what's truly important and where our focus and our energy, at least some of it, should go. Okay, taking just a few more moments here, a few more breaths on our backs, eyes closed. I'm going to prepare to join you there. And just taking a final moment here, really to bring your focus inward on your breath, on your body, letting go of everything else for just a short while. And start to invite some gentle movements into the body. You can start with something really simple like wiggling your fingers or wiggling your toes. Maybe rolling out the wrists, rolling out the ankles. Maybe just a very gentle rock of the head side to side, keeping the eyes closed as to not to get dizzy. Good. Now let's hug both knees in toward the chest. So bringing a bend into the legs, wrapping the arms around the front, and really using the arms to guide the legs closer to the body. Maybe you find some stillness here. Maybe you find that your body wants to take some gentle rock side to side. So just honor what your body wants and do that. No right or wrong here. Good, so let's keep that left leg hugged in tightly, and let's extend the right foot to the floor. So bending the right leg, drawing just the left knee in closer to the body. And let's straighten that left leg high to the sky. Good, maybe you have a micro bend in your leg, which is perfectly fine. You don't need to lock it out here. Point and flex your toes. Maybe roll out the ankle a bit. You can go ahead and interlace your hand behind that left leg as you draw it a little bit closer to the body. Getting a nice stretch in the back of the leg and the hamstring. Good. Maybe massaging out the calf a little bit here. Top body can stay connected and relaxed. Eyes can even stay closed if that's comfortable for you. Good. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Let's bring a bend back into that left leg as we cross that left ankle on top of the right knee. And now you can use that left palm to gently open the left knee here. That right arm can come down by your side. It can even extend out to the side if you have the space. Good, and feel a nice gentle hip opener here on that left side. Good, and maybe you stay right here. Or maybe if you want to get a little bit deeper into this stretch, you can interlace your hands behind the right hamstring and lift that right foot off of the earth as you guide the legs a little bit closer to the body. Good. And again, I like to give you lots of options, so feel free to take or leave whatever you want or whatever you don't want, whatever serves you. Good. My music is not where it's supposed to be. There we go. Good. So maybe you straighten that right leg for a breath or 2. Maybe you lift the shoulders off the earth for a breath or 2. Good. Whatever variation you're in, let's take 2 more full breaths. Take a nice deep inhale. Good. Exhale for 1. Inhale. Good. Exhale for 2. Good. Bringing the sole of the right foot back to the earth. The shoulders are lifted, bringing them back down. Arms out to a T. Keeping the cross of the leg here, so left ankle on top of that right knee. We're going to take a little spinal twist here. So dropping the knees over to the right, sole of the left foot closer to the earth, gazing off that left arm. Eyes can even stay closed. If you don't like the ankle variation here, you can always uncross the legs and just come into a traditional spinal twist. Good. Taking 1 more full breath. Good. Then releasing back center, hugging both knees into the chest. Good. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. And this time, we're going to lower the sole of the left foot, bend that leg. Good. Hug the right knee in toward the chest. Good. And then we're going to extend that leg straight and high to the sky. Interlacing the hands behind that right leg. Good. Inviting some movement into the foot, pointing and flexing the toes, rolling out the ankle. Good. Maybe climbing the hands gently up the back of the leg, a little massage of the calf. Gently warming up and waking up the back of that right leg. Good. Let's take 1 final breath here. Now we're going to cross that right ankle on top of that left knee. Right palm to the inside of that right knee, and just a very gentle nudge to open that hip. Flex that right foot. Good. The closer that left heel is to the sits bones, the more intensely you'll feel this hip opener. Good. The more pressure you put, the more intensely you'll feel it. So you should feel a nice stretch, a nice opening, a warming sensation, but you shouldn't feel any pain. So if you do, just back off. But if you feel like you have some space and you want to take this a little bit further, you have that option to interlace the hands behind the left hamstring. Good. And drawing that left leg in closer to the body will draw the right leg in too, and will open up that hip a little bit more. Good. You can stay here. Or if you did so on the first side, see how it feels to straighten out that left leg. Good. Maybe circle out that ankle. Maybe even lifting the shoulders off of the earth. Always lots of options, guys. I am simply your guide. So don't feel like you have to do anything I'm doing if it doesn't feel great, right? You can always go back to where we were previously. Wherever you are, we're going to take one more full breath. And slowly, piece by piece, we're going to lower out of it. So if the left leg is lifted, returning the foot to the earth, releasing any hand grip you have behind that left leg, bringing the arms out to a T if you have the space, or to cactus, preparing for that spinal twist. So keeping the cross of the legs if you did so on the first side, and then dropping both knees over to the left so the sole of the right foot's coming closer to the earth, and the gaze now is off that right arm. Good. And if this feels okay, you can stay. If it's not a great variation for you, you know, you can uncross the legs and come into a traditional spinal twist with stacked legs. Good. Wherever you are, let's take one more full deep breath. Good. Using the core, slowly releasing out of this spinal twist. If the legs were crossed, uncrossing them, drawing both knees into the chest. Good. Maybe a couple gentle rocks side to side. Good. Let's take a reclined prayer squat, a reclined malasana here. So reaching for the right knee with the right hand, left knee with the left hand. Gently start to guide those knees apart like you're opening the pages of a book. Good. Flex the feet here. Very gentle stretch in the groin and the inner thigh area. Good. And then drawing those knees back together once more. Let's release everything out long. Take a nice full body stretch. So arms overhead if you have the space, or for opposite elbows if you don't. Legs together, touching, toes pointed. Feeling a really nice long line of energy all the way from your fingertips to your toes, sucking in that core. Good. Nice, guys. Good. And then we're going to come into Matsyasana, fish pose, to help us gently rise. So bringing the arms back down by your side, planting the palms face down, right underneath the sits bones. And you're going to gently prop the top body up, coming onto the forearms. Good. And start to gently lift your heart. Point your toes, zip the legs together. Good. Maybe you're looking off the toes. Maybe, just an option, gentle drop of the head as you lift the chin up high to the sky. Keep the eyes closed here if you're in this variation. Got a nice big heart opener. Good. Don't hold your breath. Let it flow freely. And then pressing through the palms to lift the top body all the way up into our staff pose. I'm just going to bump back so you can see me. My nice bright new yellow yoga mat. Good. So this is our staff pose. Nice and tall through the spine. Inhale, the arms come straight overhead. On our exhale breath, gentle fold forward, leading with your heart. So nice flat back. Try not to curve it. Just nice and flat. Doesn't matter how far you go. Good. Keeping the neck and the spine in line and the head nice straight line here. Good. Hands are maybe to the shins, maybe they're to the feet if that's available. Good. Taking one more breath wherever you are. Good. And then very slowly lifting the top body, coming into easy seat. I'm going to turn to face you, one leg in front of the other, doesn't matter which one's in front. Good. Let's take a moment here if you'd like to invite an intention into your practice. And I always explain an intention as what it is you're creating energy for. Sometimes intentions are personal, they're individual, they're for yourself. Sometimes we have someone else in mind or something for the greater good. Maybe just something you're grateful for. So whatever it is, bring that into your heart. Bring that into your mind. Good. Let's take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Good. And you have the option to stay cross-legged, but I'd like to invite in Baddha Konasana. So our soles of the feet are together to touch, sometimes called butterfly pose. And I like to reach for my feet to kind of help ground me here and help me open my knees just a little bit wider, similar to how we were on our backs just a moment ago. Good. Let's take some very gentle neck circles here. So close the eyes so we don't get dizzy and drop the chin toward the chest. And very slowly keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Taking some gentle rotations, some circles with the neck here. So we start with chin to the chest, then right ear to right shoulder. Good, to the back. Left ear to left shoulder. Good. Let's take one more full circle. So this will be our third revolution in this direction. And once our chin comes back toward the chest, we're just going to very slowly and gently switch the direction of our circles. So this time left ear to left shoulder. Head toward the back. If you're feeling a little restricted, you can release this hand grip if you have it. You can come back to easy seat. Just make sure you're listening to your body and honoring it. Good. Again, 3 circles on this side. And once you've finished that third one, and there's no rush, we'll meet back center. And we'll take a very gentle fold forward once more, this time with open knees. Good. You might not get very far. That's okay. Some people can get their chest to their feet. You can see I'm not one of them, so no worries if you can't. We are all very different. Good. Let's take one final breath here. Good. Gently lifting the top body back to neutral. And we're going to meet a tabletop pose. So coming onto all fours. In our tabletop pose, we want to make sure that our wrists are in a straight line down from our shoulders and that our knees are in a straight line down from our hips. So we're nice and center and square. Okay, I'll turn to the side so you get a better view. And we're going to move through some cat-cow, some spine movements. On your next inhale breath, take it in, and then on the exhale, go drop the belly, lift the gaze. Good. Bring an arch into that spine as you round it up high to the sky. Gaze comes inward. Good. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, draw that spine up to the sky. Press through those palms. One more time. Moving with your breath. Drop the belly. Lift the gaze up nice and high. Good. Then press through those palms as the spine rounds and the gaze comes inward. Then meeting back in a neutral spine. Let's step that right foot toward the back of the mat. Tuck the toes and press gently backwards. You get a nice little calf stretch here on that right leg. Good. Maybe some gentle rocks back and forth serves you better. I find my body sometimes naturally invites that movement. Good. Coming back neutral. Keeping that right leg to the back of the mat. Let's bring the left toes gently out to the side like a kickstand. Left palm might come a little bit more center underneath that left shoulder. And we're going to stack shoulders and hips here as we lift that right arm high to the sky, finding a modified side plank. Good. And you have the option to stay right here as you are with the shoulders stacked, hips stacked. Or maybe you drop that right bicep over the right ear. Maybe the right toes lift off the earth for a breath or two as you catch just a little bit of a gentle balance. Again, at any point you can come back to where we started. Always, that's our home base. Good. And wherever you are, starting to come back to that modified plank, lowering the right toes if they're lifted, bringing the right arm straight up overhead, and then returning back to our traditional tabletop pose. Let's take one cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, round the spine, gaze comes inward. Good, and then set back with that neutral spine. Left foot steps toward the back of your mat, tuck the toes. Feel that nice gentle calf stretch here. Again, maybe it's still, maybe there's some gentle movements. Good, getting a nice little stretch in that calf, a little bit of ankle mobility here. Good, coming back center if you're taking any movements, preparing for that modified side plank on the second side. So those right toes this time will step out to the side, just like a little kickstand. Plant that right palm, nice and fingers nice and spread. And then that left hand lifts up high to the sky as you stack shoulders and stack hips. Good, find that nice modified side plank first, don't rush anything. And then if you want to take some variations of this pose, you know, you have the option, just draw that left arm toward the front and maybe even lifting those left toes off the earth, just hip height. Good, catching a nice little balance here for a breath or two. Nice, guys. And then slowly, if the toes are lifted, bringing them back to the earth. Returning the left hand back to your mat. And then coming back to our tabletop where we started. Good, we're gonna find puppy pose by walking the hands forward, keeping the hips high from the heels, and starting to lower the heart. Okay, it doesn't have to get all the way there. You get a nice arch in the spine, nice little stretch here. Maybe you have the flexibility to bring your forehead to the mat. If you don't, that's okay. Good. Nice big letting go pose here. And then we're going to bring a bend into the forearms, and we're going to lower the bottom half of the body so we find ourselves in a Sphinx pose. So my legs are straight behind me, connected to the mat, toes are untucked on the forearms, palms are nice and spread, heart is lifted. This is our Sphinx pose, nice gentle back bend here. Let's take a gaze off the right shoulder, bring a bend into the right leg. And I'm going to reach around for the outside of the right foot with my right hand, just to get a nice little quad stretch as I draw that heel closer to my glute. Good, I'm very gently, without snapping that leg, going to release that right leg, come back to Sphinx where I started. Good, take a gaze off the left shoulder. If you did so on the first side, bring a bend into the left leg. Reaching around for the outer edge of the left foot with the left hand so you can draw the heel closer to your left glute here and get a nice little quad stretch to the top of the thigh in the front. Good, let's take a final breath here. And very gently and with control, we release that leg back to our Sphinx pose. Good. Maybe pressing through the palms for just a breath as you straighten the arms. Get a little bit of a deeper back bend if that feels okay. Good. And if you're here with me, lowering back to the forearms, we are going to tuck the toes and we're going to lift into a forearm plank just for a few breaths as a transition. Good. So lifting the hips off the earth, feel that core start to engage. Suck that belly in, make sure that butt's not lifted. And then we're gonna slowly start to walk the toes a little bit forward, one small step at a time as the hips lift high to the sky. This is our dolphin pose. Good. And then pressing through the palms as you straighten the arms into your first downward facing dog. Good, let's take a moment to get comfortable here. Okay, let's go through some cues. Make sure your hands are nice and spread. Lifting the hips as you lower the heels. Good, maybe pedaling out the feet, maybe shaking the head yes or no. Good, melting the chest back towards the thighs. Good, creating that nice big upside down V pose. Let's take a slow walk to the top of our mat. So one small step at a time, walking toward the top. Good, meeting in that forward fold pose. So legs are straight or close to it. Micro bend in the knees is fine. Letting the top body and the head hang heavy. Good. Feeling the back of the body start to open here, letting gravity do the work. On your next inhale breath, let's lift halfway. Palms come to the shins, shine your heart, create some space. And on the exhale, fold. Good. Next inhale breath, we're going to find our Urdhva Hastasana, our upward salute. So one vertebrae at a time, we slowly rise to stand. Good. Inhale, arms overhead. Back up so you can see me. Let's stay right here and take a nice little side body stretch. Let's tilt it over to the right hand side. Feel a nice stretch along the left rib cage. Good. Maybe even gaze underneath that left arm. Make sure both feet are firmly planted. And don't hold your breath. Good. Using the core coming through center, nice and slowly. Inhale. On the exhale, we'll tilt it over to the left. Really ground that right foot into the mat. Maybe gently gaze off that right arm. Good. Feel that nice stretch along the right side body through the rib cage, maybe even to the hips slightly. Good. Inhale breath brings you back to stand. Exhale, we part the hands, swan dive back into our forward fold. Let's plant the palms, step back to our high plank pose. Good, and we're going to take a modified flow together here. So take a nice inhale breath to prepare. And on the exhale breath, you're going to drop your knees, drop your chest, and drop your chin toward the mat, keeping your sits bones nice and high away from the heels, looking like a little inchworm here. Good. Let's straighten out the legs coming onto our bellies. Take a nice low cobra here just by lifting the heart, lifting the palms, toes are untucked. The wider the legs are, the gentler the back bend will be. Good, lowering the palms back underneath the shoulders. Bring the legs a little closer, about inner hips width distance. We're gonna press straight up like a flat board into a high plank pose. Good. And then lower the heels as you lift the hips back into downward facing dog. Good, we're gonna take a three-legged dog here as we prepare to move through some standing poses. So next inhale breath, right leg lifts off the mat. It can come just a little bit off. Maybe it comes hip height, maybe it comes even higher if that's available for you. Good, try to keep the neck and head in line with your spine. Good, let's bring that knee in toward the nose. Get that angry cat back here, nice and high on the left tippy toes. And we're gonna step that right foot in between the hands, finding a low lunge. So in our low lunge, that right leg has a nice deep bend. We're going for that 90-degree angle. High on the left toes, shoulders and hips are square. You can see I have peace fingers to the mat. It's a great place for blocks or books or whatever you have to bring the earth a little bit closer. Or maybe you hover here, really engage the inner thighs and the core. We don't want to rest that top body on that thigh. Nice strong pose. We're here for one more breath. Good. If you're lifted, you might want to bring the hands down to help with this transition. We're going to step that left foot up just a little bit and plant the foot on a 45-degree angle as we straighten both legs, keeping hips and shoulders square, folding over the right leg for pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Again, letting the top body hang heavy here, letting gravity do the work. Good. You can bump that left foot up a little bit if you need to. What's really important here is that our hips are square. The hips tend to want to open here. So let's take a nice halfway lift. And while you're lifted, really square the hips. I sometimes do it manually. You can see, plug that right hip back, roll that left hip forward, make sure everything's square to the front. And then on the exhale breath, fold. Good. One more breath. Good. Keeping the feet as they are, we're going to bring a bend into the right leg. We're going to lift the hands off the mat and gently bring them straight up overhead into our Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. Good. Try to get that nice deep bend in that right leg. Keep that left hip facing forward. If that's hard for you, you can take a little bit of a wider stance. Good. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, pinky spiral in for one more breath. Nice strong warriors. Good. And we're going to slice the arms open, finding warrior 2. So again, keeping the legs the same, right toes facing forward, left toes to the side, deep bend in that right leg. This time, right arm's extended in front, shoulder height, left arm to the back, gazing off that right middle finger. Making sure that this knee's not tracking in, keeping it forward or slightly out. See if you get a little bit deeper for one more full breath. Inhale. Good, and exhale. Good, getting a little bit of relief. Let's straighten that right leg. We're going to bring it back for a peaceful triangle. So left hand down the left leg, right arm high to the sky, maybe even toward the back as you get that nice side body stretch here. So those left fingertips can crawl down that left leg, or they can even wrap around the small of your back, whatever feels better for you. Both legs are straight. Good, enjoy this straight leg pose for one more full breath. Good, we're gonna find extended side angle next. So bringing that bend back into the right leg, right forearm to the right thigh, stacking shoulders, left arm lifts up high to the sky. Gaze can be up at that left hand. If that's not comfortable for your neck, it can come down toward the right foot. Really want to make sure that left shoulder is on top of the right. Good, get that deep bend in that right leg here once more. Good, so this is technically our modified variation. If you want to find the full variation of this pose, see if it's available to you, that right hand's going to come to the inside of that right foot, and that right elbow might even nudge that right knee open slightly. Good, let's take one more full breath here. Nice deep inhale. And exhale. Good, keeping the arms as they are. Let's straighten that right leg. Now we're into our triangle, getting a little bit of relief. Good, another great spot for a block or great opportunity to hover here. Get a nice little core work in. Good, this is our triangle pose, Trikonasana. Good. And then we're going to revolve our triangle by bringing the left hand inside of that right foot as we peel the right arm up high to the sky. Good. Now you have the option to stay here in this revolved triangle, or you can turn onto the left toes, bend the right leg, come into easy twist. Good. So this is more of a lunge here, whereas the triangle is a straight leg pose. One final option in the standing sequence. You can keep this easy twist, or if you want to come into a side plank with me, and we took a modified one earlier, so that's always an option, you can roll to the outside of the left foot, stacking right leg on top of left, stacking right shoulder on top of left into your side plank. Good. Or you can drop that left knee and take it modified. Good, wherever you are, we're all gonna meet back in a high plank pose. And if you wanna take a flow with me, let's do it. If you wanna hold plank or go right back to downward dog, that's fine. Maybe you're gonna throw in a push-up or two, that's cool too. If you wanna flow, take a nice deep inhale to prepare. Exhale, lower halfway, arms nice and close to the body. Good, flipping over onto the tops of the feet for upward facing dog, or having the hips and thighs lower for high cobra, or if that's too much, nice little low cobra. Good, either way, we'll meet back in downward facing dog as we prepare to move through our second side. Take just a moment here to reset. Good, left leg's gonna lift high to the sky for three-legged dog. Good, knee comes in toward the nose with that angry cat back. And then that left foot's going to step between the hands, finding your low lunge. Good, and taking a moment here to get set up, to get nice and strong in our low lunge. So we're high on the right toes, nice deep bend in the left leg. Left foot is connected. I have my fingers connected to the earth to help, but once I get my balance and I feel pretty stable, I'm going to lift them. Try to get that 90-degree bend here, keeping shoulders and hips square. Good. One more full breath. We go from bent leg to straight to bent to straight, right? Don't stay anywhere it's too long. Good, let's lower the hands to help with this transition. And we're going to bump that right foot up a little bit on a 45 as we keep our hips and shoulders square and fold over our front leg for pyramid pose. Good, let the top body hang heavy here. Both legs are straight. And your next inhale breath, let's lift halfway. If you need to square off those hips, plug that left hip back, roll the right hip forward. On your next exhale breath, fold back over that front leg. Good, and one more full breath in our pyramid pose. Good. And then we're going to prepare to come into a warrior one. So keeping our feet exactly as they are, bring that bend into the left leg first. And then slowly lifting both arms straight up to the sky. Good, warrior one. Pinkies spiraled in, shoulders are away from the ears. Nice deep bend in that left leg. Again, if this is tough, if you have tight hips like I do, maybe just taking a little bit of a wider stance on your mat. Good. And then we're going to prepare to shift into our warrior two. So again, left foot faces forward, right toes are to the side. We're going to slice those arms open. Left arm to the front, right to the back. Really settling into this left leg and opening that left knee, gazing off the left middle finger. Nice strong warrior. So you can get a little bit deeper of a bend on that left leg for one final breath. Good, then straighten that left leg, getting a little bit of relief there, preparing for peaceful triangle. So right hand's coming down the right leg, left arm overhead toward the back, left bicep frames out the left ear, walking those right fingertips down the right leg or wrapping them around the small of the back. Good, one more full breath in this nice straight leg pose. And preparing for extended side angle. So bend that left knee once more, left forearm to the left thigh. Right arm straight up to the sky, stacking shoulders. Right shoulder is directly over the left. Gazes up at that right hand or down at the left foot, whatever feels better for your neck. Try to get that nice deep bend here, that gentle nudge of that hip open. And you have the option to stay here, or if you took the option I offered on the first side by lowering that left hand to the inside of the left foot, or maybe even into the calf or to a block. Maybe hovering, really feel the core engage. This is our full variation of our extended side angle. Good, and keeping everything exactly the same except for that left leg, which we're going to straighten. We are now in our triangle pose. Good, so straight legs, stacked shoulders, stacked hips. Good, again, another great place. If you have something here, just to bring the earth a little bit closer. If you had a block, it would look similar to this, just to help with your alignment. You have 3 different heights you can use. Good. Great tool if you practice. I would recommend getting them. They're really cheap and pretty easy to find. Good, we're going to revolve our triangle. So keeping the legs as they are, bringing that right hand down inside of that left foot. Left arm peels up high to the sky. Feel free to bump that back foot up a little bit if you need to. We're only here for one more breath. And we're going to roll on to those right toes, high on the right foot. Heel is lifted, right palm plants, and now we're in our easy twisted lunge. So the left leg now has a nice deep bend in it. And if you did so on the first side, remember it's an option. We're going to take a side plank here by rolling onto the outer edge of the right foot. Left leg's going to stack on top of the right. Now you have that option to drop the knee and take it modified, or straight legs, legs are stacked, shoulders are stacked. Good, wherever you are, we are going to meet back in a plank pose. And if you're moving through, we're going to go through a nice flow. So lower halfway. Good. Untucking the toes, finding your back bend of choice. Good, rolling over the toes, meeting back in downward facing dog. Good. Let's take a slow walk of the hands this time back toward the feet. So we'll meet toward the back of our mats this time in a forward fold. And we're just going to move through a really short balance sequence here. So slowly rise to stand. Don't rush. We don't want to get dizzy. Good. So put the weight into your left foot, and we're going to draw that right knee into the chest. Flex that right foot. I like to bring my hands to prayer to help with balance, pressing the palms together right at the midline. Good. And maybe you stay right here. Maybe you want to open it a little bit. We did some inner thigh work, some hip work. So maybe that right hand draws that right knee open to the side. And you can bring the left hand out to balance here. Good. And if you fall out of your balance, it's okay. It doesn't matter. We just get right back into it. And if you're here with me, let's take one more breath. Bring that right knee back in where we started. Hands to prayer heart center. And we're going to take a step forward, slow and controlled with that right foot. And then we're going to press off the left toes as we shift and lift into a warrior three. So balancing on the right leg. Left leg is extended hip height, flexing that left foot to help with balance. Finding a dristi, something that's not moving, to help with your balance. Good, one final breath here. And then left foot meets the right, fold. Good, gentle, slow, upward salute. Hands come up overhead. Nice long stretch. And then hands back to prayer. Good. This time weight comes into the right foot as the left knee comes into the chest. Same thing, we're just a little bit higher on our mats now. So if you did so on the first side, maybe you stay right here. If you open that knee, left hand to left knee to gently draw it out to the side. Right arm out to the opposite side to help with that balance. Good, focus here, breathe. Balance is such an important but often overlooked part of our overall physical fitness, health, and well-being. Good, bringing that right knee back into the chest and stepping forward with the left foot this time, closer to the top of your mat. And then we're going to shift and lift into warrior three once more, this time balancing on the left leg. Right leg is extended, hip height to the back. Good, try to make a T with your body. Good, one more breath. And then right foot steps to meet the left and we fold. Inhale, upward salute. Hands to prayer overhead. And then hands through prayer heart center as we fold. Good, planting the palms, stepping back to our high plank pose. And slowly and with control, lowering all the way to your belly. Once you get there, you can untuck the toes. Feet can come mats width distance. And let's press through the palms for a gentle back bend into our high cobra. If high cobra is too much for you, just take a little baby cobra just by lifting the palms. Good. One more full breath in your back bend of choice. Good. And then slowly lowering the heart back toward the mat. Keeping your head toward the top of the mat, feet toward the bottom. You're just going to gently roll over onto your back. I'm going to come sideways just so you can see me a little bit better. So we are almost back where we started. We have a couple final stretches and poses here before we bring it all the way down. So let's bring a bend into the legs. Heels nice and close to the sits bones. Good, arms along down by the side body. We're going to take a nice bridge pose here. So pressing through the heels as we lift the hips up high to the sky, keeping some space between the chin and the chest for our air to flow. Good. See if you can get those hips a little bit higher. And then gently lower the sits bones back to the earth. Let's windshield wiper those knees side to side. Loosen up that lower back. So let's take one more bridge pose. So again, pressing through the heels, hips lift up nice and high to the sky. Weight is in the heels. See if you can get a little bit higher for one final breath. Good, lowering those hips. Good. Let's hug the knees into the chest. those legs straight up high to the sky here, finding a waterfall pose. So nice little inversion to round out our practice. So legs are straight or close to it. You can see, hopefully you can see I have a little bit of a micro bend in mine. Nice gentle flex to the feet. Top body is fully connected and relaxed. Eyes are closed. Take a few breaths here. Good, nice relaxing way to end our practice. If anyone is with me live this evening, inversions are really good for reducing stress and anxiety and helping sleep. If you want to take a more restorative approach, and I'll just show you really quickly if you can see, depending on your space, legs up the wall is an awesome, awesome pose. So you can see here, I'm just supported. So if you're in a room that has that option, maybe you take that. And if you're not, this is something you can do anytime. So float the eyes to close. Take a few final breaths here before we prepare for our final resting pose. If you have any other stretches or poses you want to take here, you're welcome to. You can stay in this inversion. Maybe you want to take a reclined malasana or a happy baby, which we did earlier. So bringing the knees apart or taking that one step further, reaching for the outer edges of the feet. If there's anything else your body needs to feel fulfilled, to round out your practice, you have a few final breaths to do that. If you're in reclined malasana or happy baby, drawing the knees back into the chest, giving yourself a nice little hug, little squeeze, maybe even curling up into a little ball by lifting the shoulders off the earth. Good, and then whenever you're ready, we're gonna find our final resting pose. So coming into your variation of Shavasana, taking up as much space as you'd like. Maybe the feet and arms come out wide. Good, settling in here, coming full circle where we started. To really help slow everything down, let's take a nice deep breath. So breathe all the way in through your nose, fill up. And then open your mouth and exhale like you're fogging up a mirror. Good, settling into your final pose. If you need to change any lighting, any music, go ahead and do that. And then giving yourself permission for just a few moments out of your entire day to slow down. Slow down the heart rate, slow down the breath, slow down the mind, stop the body, finding stillness. Good, coming back to your breath, back to your intention. Just taking a scan to see how you feel. Notice any areas of tension and see if you can soften. So after we move our bodies through our physical practice, our asana practice, moving through the poses, we come into our final resting pose, which is often the most difficult pose for people, finding that stillness. But this is here where you reap the benefits of that physical practice, where you find that you can relax, that you can rest, that you can have those peaceful thoughts, that you can quiet all that mental chatter, even for just a few moments. Taking just a few more moments here. And as always, if your schedule will allow it, I would highly encourage you to stay here longer. Take a few more breaths. You can afford 5 or 10 minutes here. Sometimes when we feel like we don't have the time to do that is when we need it the most, right? if you're planning on wrapping up this practice with me, you can start to invite some gentle movements back into the body, just like we did when we started, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes, rolling out the wrists or the ankles. I like to gently rock my head side to side with my eyes closed. Okay, let's take a nice full body stretch. So bringing the legs together to touch, pointing the toes, sucking in that belly. Arms extend overhead if you have the space. Good. Take a nice deep inhale here. And exhale. Good. Let's hug the knees in toward the chest. And gently rolling over onto our right side, finding fetal pose. So after Shavasana, which is corpse pose, we find fetal pose, or the position of fresh starts, of renewal. And using your left hand for some support, gently guiding yourself into a seated position, facing forward, finding easy seat. And keep the eyes open or closed, palms up or down, whatever resonates with you. Let's end class with one collective breath. Always coming back to the breath. Such an important tool. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And open mouth release. Bringing the hands to prayer heart center. Bowing the head toward the heart in final gratitude. Thank you all so much for joining me, for allowing me to be your guide. It is my honor. Keep peace in the mind, strength in the body, and love in the heart. Namaste. Thank you all so much. Hope everyone's feeling good. And I will see you all soon. Thanks.